Dragons Rising Season 2 has been one of Ninjago's best seasons in years, with great writing, great characters, and over 20 great LEGO sets. So today, we're going to take a look at the 10 best LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising sets of 2024. Let's go! The 10th best LEGO Ninjago set of 2024 is Egolt the Master Dragon, who released in January this year for $69 US. He is far from the biggest and best dragon on this list, but is still worthy enough to be included here. Egolt is seen in Dragons Rising Season 2 Part 1 and is depicted pretty faithfully here, with all the key details like a hat, beard and tail that can hold a sword. You know, regular Ninjago dragon stuff. He's got a new black printed headpiece and red details on his legs. The set also includes a little side build with the Gong of Shattering, or at least the smaller version of it. And there's a little black and pink tree as well. The minifig selection is very solid, with mech pilot Lloyd and Nia, who also appear in Lloyd's Elemental mech, the same Sora from 2023 and possibly 2025 at this point, as well as Cinder and Raz on the villain side. Despite being one of the larger dragons this season, I personally tend to overlook poor Egolt a lot. It's hard to stand out amongst other bigger fish like some of the other entries coming up on this list, but I have to hand it to him, he does break the mold quite a lot. He's kind of unconventional, even by Ninjago standards. The retail price for this set feels a bit too high, like most LEGO sets these days. $10 or $15 less would be a bit better, but as it's now 10 months old, I guarantee you'll find it discounted at plenty of places. And thankfully, it ended up being a tad bit bigger than I expected. Same with the next entry on this list. Next up is another dragon that's not quite as big, but maybe just as good depending on who you ask. This is Young Dragon Ryu, a set that released in March of this year for $15 US. This set shows Ryu's Pokemon-like evolution, as he is now much bigger than his 2023 design, and judging by a new leaked 2025 set image that I can't show here for copyright reasons, he's just going to keep getting bigger in future waves. It'll be really funny if by like Dragons Rising Season 5 and 2027, Ryu is the size of the Source Dragon of Motion. I actually think it'll be dope if we get to see Ryu, Aaron, Sora and Wildfire all grow up as the show continues on. The build for Ryu is fairly simple, but is fun nonetheless, and features some nice shaping even for its small size. The head has been used on the small dragon that appears in the Tournament Temple City in dark orange, and will be used in dark green on Lloyd's Forest Dragon in 2025. And the results of my careful and thorough testing have proved that you can fit around 4 baby Ryus on him. Also, if they keep doing this Pokemon evolution thing with him, I would love to stack all of them on top of each other and make a Ryu tower. The figures here are the ever cool Wolf Mask Warrior and the dynamic duo of Sora and Aaron. This is currently the cheapest way to acquire the custom Sora hairpiece, and one of the cheapest ways to get Aaron if you don't live in Europe. With a solid minifig selection and a fun build, I personally feel that the price on this one was justified, and I was happy to pay it. At number 8 is a set with one of, if not the singular best Ninjago minifigure selections of 2024. We have the Tournament Battle Arena, which released in June in the UK, Australia and New Zealand as well as some other places, and August in North America and other places. Look, I really don't know why LEGO does this. Anyway, this is meant to be a very downsized recreation of the battle arena from the City of Temples, seen in Dragons Rising Season 2 Part 2. At least, I think that's what they were going for. The most fun part of this set is the ability to make your minifigs fight each other on these discs. I love the big woo looking statue at the top of this collapsing staircase. Very fun play feature by the way. Very creative. On the right side is a big gong. Well, actually it's more of a drum with some little mallets on either side. And there is yet again a neat play feature here that can be useful for squashing your enemies. The left side is less impressive with a single weapons rack. However, this is modular so you can move stuff around. And of course attach it to the Tournament Temple City. More on that later. Though the absolute best part of the whole set is the minifigure selection, with Kai, Sora, a Wolf Mask Warrior, a new Cinder, a new Tox, and most incredibly Evil J. $49.99 USD feels only a bit high. I mean, the inclusion of Evil J alone makes this feel kind of worth it, but the fact that you also get Tox and a new Cinder plus 3 other figures really makes this close to good value. Still not perfect, but good nonetheless. In 7th place we have not one set, but 4. The most unexpected series of sets this year, the Micro Ninjago City sets. If you had told me a year ago that we would be getting micro scale sets based upon all the Ninjago City sets, I would have had a hard time believing you. After all, LEGO rarely does things like this for Ninjago, and they try so hard in all the marketing to pretend that the first 2 Ninjago City sets don't even exist. So why would they make micro scale versions 7 years after the first one? But against all odds, they actually did it, and made them LEGO Insiders rewards, and subsequently pretty expensive to get enough points for them. At the time of writing, I only have the first 2, acquired off of eBay, but I think they look very good. It is crazy that they captured all the necessary details in such small builds, and they do a great job at looking like the actual things. I just wonder if when they do a 5th Ninjago City set, if we'll also get a 5th Micro Ninjago City set. It would make a great gift with purchase. I really hope we do see that. Number 6 is the Wolf Mask Shadow Dojo, released in March of this year. The build is pretty unique, being this dojo raised up in the air like Ewok Village, with some pink and black trees around it. There's a giant wolf head on the front that looks very fierce, and they managed to make the architecture of the building itself look very cool. The colour palette of pink, black and dark blue helps as well. And hanging from the underside is a full-size gong of shattering. There's a fun trapdoor feature and a minimal interior because this set is not that deep. Literally. But the most eye-catching feature is this large disc that looks like an eyeball, but I believe it's meant to be the blood moon. Spooky. The minifigure selection here is interesting indeed. A Wolf Mask Warrior, Cinder, Raz and Jordana, so the whole bad guy gang, the big 3, and then Climber Kai, Lloyd, Nia and Zane, with 3 of them being exclusive when they released, not so anymore. And I forgot to mention this tacked on little battle arena at the front, which is an okay build, but it really doesn't add a lot. At a price of 119 USD, this feels pretty good. Not incredible, but the build is fine. It's far from my favourite Ninjago structure, but it is one of the better sets this year. And also, the amount of figures here is very generous, and I think that detail in particular helps soften the blow of the price. Number 5 is a set you have no doubt heard about before if you've been into Ninjago this year at all. Jay's Mech Battle Pack. This includes a fun little mech for Jay as well as 4 minifigures, those being Mech Pilot Jay, Master Lloyd, a Wolf Mask Warrior and a Wolf Clan Guard. The build is very cute and comically tiny, but the best part of this set is the fact that this could all be yours for the low price of $10. Yep, only $10 for 4 minifigs in a build. This absolutely has to be the best valued set of this year. This costs less for 4 figures than 4 individual minifigures would cost. Granted, minifig series figures are more detailed, but still. Absolutely every Ninjago fan needs this set this year, and I really hope we see another Ninjago Battle Pack next year. In 4th place is another mech, but basically the polar opposite, because whilst Jay's Battle Mech is one of Ninjago's smallest mechs ever, Cole's Titan Dragon Mech is the largest Ninjago mech ever. Released back in June or August of this year, depending on where you live, this thing radiates awesome. I mean, who doesn't like a giant futuristic Jaeger? The points of articulation here are crazy, and this thing hulks over pretty much every other Ninjago mech. The only real problem with it is the difficulty of moving it, especially in a tight space. But other than that, it looks very impressive, and the singular included figure, Mech Pilot Cole, looks very slick. The price though, I'm not super happy with the price on this one. 99 USD is a bit too high of a price in my opinion. I think maybe $15 less would have been a lot more comfortable. Now we're at the top 3 best Ninjago sets of 2024, and the 3rd best is the Dragonstone Shrine, released back in March. I knew this thing was incredible since the second I saw it, and I remember thinking that it looked very advanced for a mainline Ninjago set. It is also, I believe, the only Ninjago set this year to have a 13+ age recommendation on the box, which reflects its complexity in design. The water detailing here is great, reminiscent of the Ninjago City sets, and the waterfall technique is very creative. There's also some fun play features like a tilting rock platform on the left and a detachable rock wall on the right, which reveals a book. I think the most striking part of this build is the large cherry blossom tree overhanging the water, which looks magnificent. And it's all contained within a kind of oval shaped base, which forms a bit of a bowl for the water inside. The figures included are Master Lloyd again, Raz again, Kai and Nia in their season 1 outfits but with hair out, and then a brand new Wu and new Fraser. This set costs 119 USD, so the same as the Wolf Mask Shadow Dojo. Although this has around 100 more pieces than the other set, that one has 2 minifigures more, so it kind of balances it out. But if I had to pick one of those two, I would pick this set. Even so, it still feels a bit too much for this. 99 USD would have been better, but you have to remember we're in 2024 and LEGO is becoming an increasingly more expensive toy. Collector's item. Number 2 is Ninjago's biggest and arguably best dragon ever, the Source Dragon of Motion, which released in June or August depending on your region. Now the promotional material was not lying, this is indeed Ninjago's biggest dragon by far, and it looks phenomenal. Whilst building this, I was shocked by how big it is. It kept exceeding my expectations as I went on, and then when you slap a giant throne on top, it grows even larger. Speaking of the throne, I think it's done very well, with the large gong of shattering again and a smaller version of the Wolf Mask Shadow Dojo wolf head on the top. The whole dragon looks beyond awesome and has a very impressive length and wingspan. So this looks great on its own, but in the show there are 7 source dragons, and we are supposed to be getting another one as a set next year. So does this mean we will be getting 6 more dragon sets this size? Because if so, that's insane. Incredibly insane and expensive, but oh boy will it be awesome. This set's figures are Kai, Aaron and Wildfire on the hero side, and a Wolf Mask Warrior, Jordana and Raz on the villain side. At $149.99 USD, this is another one that feels just a bit too high of a price to be a comfortable purchase. You do get a lot here and a decent amount of figs, but it is still more than I thought it would cost. Around 132 USD would feel better to me, although I personally was lucky enough to get this on sale the week it came out, which usually doesn't happen. And I'm sure you can find it discounted at many places by now. And number 1 is, drumroll please, the amazing, the incredible, the overpriced Tournament Temple City, released in June or August of 2024. This is the biggest Ninjago set of this year and arguably the best. I had a really difficult time deciding between this and the Source Dragon. There's plenty of great features here, but I'll keep it brief because there are so many other totally unbiased sponsored reviews out there if you want a more detailed look at the set. But the key features are a giant temple on top of a cave with a water wheel on the right and a pier on the left. But it gets better because you can connect the tournament battle arena here to create an even more detailed structure. It kind of pales in comparison to the City of Temples seen in the show, but let's be real here, a set that size was never going to happen. At least not in this decade, maybe in the future. This feels like to me a modern reincarnation of the legendary Temple of Air Jitsu set. It's a similar size, a similar build and a similar amount of figs. Speaking of figures here, you get a decent selection of 13, with Lloyd, Cole, Zane, Nia, Aaron, Wildfire, Raz, Jordana, the funny Games Master Roby and his boring Uncle Blecht, as well as a temple guard and a blacksmith. But the biggest draw of this set is definitely Mr. Pale, appearing in a Ninjago set for the first time ever, so you get a decent amount of minifigs for what you pay. However, let's talk about what you pay. $250 US. Yikes. That's only 100 away from a Ninjago City set. Not the best price honestly, but it is worth it. Kind of. If you're a Ninjago-aholic like myself, it is a must-have. If not, then your money is probably best spent elsewhere. But with that aside, the set is fantastic, which is why it is number 1 on this list. And that wraps it up for today. Please take a moment to let me know in the comments which of these sets you would recommend the most and what video you would like to see from me next. I absolutely cannot wait to see what the 2025 Ninjago sets look like and to redo this video at the end of next year. I thank you all for watching. That's been all for today folks. Have a great day and see you next week.